All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of 8 in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate,
Arr.
contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll dig up a great deal for you.
Eye patch and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back. We're live once again. Good grief, what happened to my chat? Okay, it must have been playing catch up. No, never mind. It's still catching up. Hey, welcome to Fred. I see Fred in the chat. Folks, make sure and give Fred a warm welcome. Actually, we've got Fred has been gracious enough to come on to the show the 30th, so that would be next Sunday. And definitely looking forward to hearing some of the stories that he's got to share, because I'm sure he's got a number of them to share. Let's see. We see Jason's in, Frank, Dennis, the Bills, Mike Treckler in. Good to see. Good to see. All right. Try to get all caught up here. We see Scott. Barks Detecting Bits, which, speaking of Barks Detecting Bits, the first link in the description tonight, Facebook or YouTube, is the direct link to the video of the V-nickel cash spill whatever you want to define it as. I mean, you know, 2 or more constitute as a spill, but if there's remnants of a jar, well, I'm going to call it a cache. So, welcome to Ian. And I believe Chuck may or may not be along with us shortly. We'll see what happens. Either way, try to do some creative moving around here. And let's get the gang in, because we've got Kevin, Clay, and Emery all waiting in the wings. So we'll get them brought up on the screen here. And now I can do some moving around. There we go. Present them a little larger. Yeah. That'll work.
Space in the
back. Right? Yeah, what's up? While I had you guys backstage, was there a quick wardrobe change? Because I don't believe Clay had a Minelab shirt on.
No, he did a quick wardrobe change.
That's what I thought.
He saw mine, so we got to represent our machines. So,
I don't even have my Minelab hat on. I was watching basketball today. I had to pull from my Dookies.
Well, and I guess it's good that the Minelab shirts are on, because I'm sure that people are going to want to know what machine made this find.
Well, it was a Manicore that I've had for, I don't know, a year. Still learning it, thanks to Clay and Dennis, our buddy Dennis Grettencord. They teach me a lot on it, but yeah, I'm still swinging the Manicore, and I love it.
Yeah, and apparently getting it figured out okay.
Yeah, finding some stuff.
Yeah, definitely finding some stuff. That there's no debating that. Sounds like you're just really tearing it up. Of course, all 3 of you guys are.
What really gets me is we're going back out to places that Clay and I have previously hit with his AT Max and my Apex, and we're still dragging some stuff out even deeper.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like the location that you guys were on. It's not like this is a new permission.
No. I've had this place for, I want to say, at least 7 or 8 years, and we haven't gone out to it a lot, just because it's out off a gravel road. I think the whole time we were at that field, and we were there 3, 4, 5 hours, we didn't have a single car drive past us. I mean, that's how remote it is.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Of course, after seeing the finds that came out in the last video, I don't know. May want to go back there a little more often.
Yeah. Well, the farmer, I know the farmer really well, and I know he deep plowed it this year. He went really deep. I seen the plow he was hitting it with, and normally he only kind of scrapes the top around a little bit, but this year he went in and he went really deep with it this year.
Well, and that does bring up a good question, too. I mean, this was right on the edge of the field, basically. I mean, you guys couldn't have been but a couple of feet into the field the way it looked on the video.
Right.
And we did see broken glass. So do you think that this is something that the plow drug up? Or it just kind of broke it open and
I think it was. I think in the past years that particular location was grass, and he actually dug in with the plow and kind of. You know, I know a lot of farmers that like to make their fields just a little bit bigger every year.
Right. Everybody likes to get that extra row in.
Get the extra row in, and I think he went out. He came out towards the ditch at least 2 feet. And I'm thinking when he went through and basically put the field to bed last year, that's probably when he hit this jar with the coins in it.
Yeah, because you can tell, I mean, from the photo that went around, and I'll put that up as a thumbnail on this after the show and over on the podcast side too, but something was protecting those coins for quite some time. I mean, they look like they're in very decent shape, which explains the shards of glass. They were probably in a glass jar, plow hit it, broke it open, and right there they all were in a pile, basically. What did they ring up as to you, Emery?
There they are. Well, what was weird is, like I said, I'm still learning this Manticore. I was swinging along the edge, probably 30 foot from the truck, where the driveway was, where we parked. About a foot and a half off the edge. I don't know why I do that, but
he does it every time.
I do it every time.
Oh, it is he got the Indian head, and he was actually in between our truck and his truck.
Yeah. And I don't know why I do that, but I was doing that. I was swinging, and I knew I was going to find a lot of garbage because the farmers, you know, they mow them ditches, and the beer cans, the road sodas get tossed in.
Oh, yeah, it's all right there.
Yeah, it's going to blow it out into the field edge there. So I knew I was going to get a lot of trash, and I don't know if anybody here swings a Manticore, but with the Equinox, with the Mine Lab stuff, nickels, they ring up about a 26, 27. And this rang up as a 23, which told me that it was a Canslaw. But it was so consistent and so strong. I said, dig it anyway. And out in the fields, you got to dig. You got to dig
everything.
Nuts. Yeah. And I wasn't going to dig it. I honestly, and I told these guys too, I almost didn't dig it because it was a 23. And I dug it. And I know Kevin likes the video stuff. And I hollered at him and put my arms up. I was excited. He knew I had something good. And I said, I see at least 3 or 4. So we knew it was a coin spill, but I didn't know what they were until he got over there with the camera, so I can start uncovering them, because we want to be the best video that we can be for his Barks detecting bits. And I pulled the first one off, and it was I believe the first one was a 1905 V nickel, and just kept finding them. Put my pinpointer back down in the hole, probably 4 or 5 inches, and it still rang. I put my shovel back in. I took up another clod of dirt, and they were just packed in there. And at the end of that, got 19 of them. That's a weird number. I know it's 19. We searched and searched and searched. I re-swung it. Kevin swung it. Clay swung it. I re-swung it again. Nothing. So there was only 19. They range in dates. The oldest one was 1900. And the oldest, or the newest, was I got 3 1911s. And they went everywhere in between those. They're all in really good shape. Some of them are pretty smooth, so they've been used. They bought some stuff before. Probably
Right.
10 feet behind me, Clay found a shield nickel sticking halfway out of the ground.
That was 1867.
1867 shield. And probably 8-10 foot to the side of me, he found the large cent. That was a 40.
It was 40 something.
40 something.
Yeah,
1840
it was
something.
trashed pretty bad.
So it was a unique find for sure. One of
You
us
think?
find that. One of us were going to find it. Of course, I'm glad I did. On their field, on their permission. But we're a team. We were talking about this stuff. We hunt together. We swing together. We're great friends. I'm just glad I was with these guys when I found it. And everything that these guys have taught me how to metal detect. This is my fourth full year metal detecting. These guys have taught me a lot, and especially Clay and Dennis with them Manticores, learning those things, man. Thank you guys very much. Clay, Dennis, I know you're on here. Dennis, thank you very much, brother, for all your help. And it's fun. It's fun to find this stuff and grow our sport. To me, this is a sport. It's not a hobby. It's a sport. You put your body through some uses here, and I wasn't even going to swing that day because I got a bruise I hurt my arm at work, and I wasn't even going to swing. And I'm glad I did.
I bet you're glad you did now.
I did.
He quit thinking about his arm pretty quick.
Right? Yeah. I'm curious to know too, since you were running the Manticore. I mean, obviously you see the signature that CanSlaw can show up as.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to notice the signature when you went over this pile of nickels?
To be honest, no. I took a glance at the number. It was so strong and so loud in my headphones. I just thought it was a whole can down there. The signature, no. Just noticed the number. It was just a quick decision to dig it.
Right.
I never thought nothing about it, honestly. And
well, and I mean, I just ask as kind of an afterthought because honestly, I probably wouldn't have noticed it either. I mean, that strong, that consistent and repeatable. Just dig it, get it out of the ground, and keep moving.
And that's what you do. You got to get rid of the trash to find the good stuff, right?
And
we all know this.
This field doesn't have a lot of garbage in it. It's almost a dig everything. There's, lots of square nails, but
And shotgun
shells.
Yeah, and shotgun shells. We see that in the video.
This is the same field that was it last year, year before. Clay got 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Clay got a couple of pistol grips. I think Chuck dated them for him too. It was like 1880s or something like that.
Well, he would be the guy to date him, I'm sure. And who'd you get your Manticore from, Emery?
Mr. Smalley.
That's what I thought. See, that's what we like to see. Customers succeeding in the field, right, Chuck?
Absolutely. I got my old Mind Lab shirt on here. I got that from Mr. Frankie Juarez. Thank you, Frankie.
There you go. No, I like to see the people who get in and get out there and involved do better. And that's my main goal, is let people have the same enjoyment I've had and things that I've found and things that they find, because it's amazing the history that you pull up. And I've been blessed with some of the things I've found, and I like seeing you guys. Of course, Clay's the first one that went to the dark side for me. And, his dad was
the one that got me to switch.
His ass wiped. So Shouldn't say that, but he was. And then he decided to jump in. And then, of course, Emery came on whole hog. And you guys are doing good. I like seeing that. And there's a lot of great detectors out there and that kind of stuff. But overall, I'm sorry, the Mind Lab still puts out one of the best machines in the world today. And it's for all of it. Of course, they are the top dogs on gold machines, hands down. We'll see how that comes out later in the year.
Yeah.
And we'll see how we do. But congratulations are in order. That's fun. Was there a lot of glass there? Was the bottle still?
We left a lot of the glass in the ground. I mean, we picked out a couple pieces of it, but I mean, when I shot the camera down in the hole, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, there's glass here.
Yeah.
And we never found the top.
We thought we did, but
thought we did at one time. We chased after the top. I wanted to see if it was a mason jar or screw-on type or what type of jar it was. And we never did find the top, but there was a lot of glass in the hole.
Was the glass colored in any way? Was it tinted
kind of bluish?
Had a bluish hue to it. Wasn't really thick glass or nothing. So that told me it was a jar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, you guys. That's fun. All three of you. That's excitement. That's somebody's little stash.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got.
I almost think it could go with the old wives' tale about people buried money at the third fence post, because that was about how far it is from the driveway. Would have been about the third fence post.
Yep. Yeah, fence post banks throughout the Midwest and a lot of places are pretty prevalent. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. They're a lot more prevalent than what people give credit to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if maybe over time there might be.
Hey, Emery, what's the newest date? What's the newest date?
They ranged anywhere that the oldest was a 1900.
Mm-hmm.
And the newest was 1911, and I got 3 of those.
No buffaloes.
No buffs. No.
Every one of them was a V-nickel.
Yes. Every single one of these was a V-nickel.
Mm.
You can kind of see some of them are a little darker than others.
Yeah, they might have been up toward the lid or laying on it or
sure
whatever.
And
we all know that 99% of the nickels we find out of the ground, they're toast red. And I've only found one shield nickel that looked like that shininess, and that came out from a very old, large white pine, and it was in the pine boughs. It wasn't terribly deep, and I thought, well, somebody lose that recently? I looked, no, not. And it was in 1867. That's pretty common date on those. And I found a couple buffaloes that were together, and those sides that were facing each other were still pretty decent shape, but the outsides were red. They were dimpled and red.
Right.
And, it had to be, like you said or thought. I listened to your video. In fact, I called Josh. I said, you need to listen to this. You need to talk to him, because that's kind of a fun thing. And he did, and got a hold of you. But I'm going to ask you, maybe I shouldn't. I hear you got another find that's made some waves.
Yeah.
Now, I want one person in here to listen to this closely. Barb, listen to what these boys found.
Yeah, and I mean, this is big. This is one to be proud of for sure.
Something that's probably not going to happen again. I never say once in a lifetime, but with this
one could be.
This could be.
So the one that you guys are speaking of,
hang in there.
What's that?
I was telling Alan Landau, you better hold on to your seat on this one.
All right. I was out detecting these 2. I can't remember where they were at, and I got a hold of my good buddy Dennis Grettencourt.
Maybe they were at Wendy's.
They might have been at Wendy's.
Oh, Dennis, this is never going to go away.
Couldn't resist.
I'm gonna be nice. I gotta sit next to him on the plane on the way to Alaska.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Alan's now holding for you.
I went metal detecting with Dennis Grettencourt at a permission that I had, and it was a church site out in an old country church site, and we had hit this before. The boys and I, we've hit this before, and we did pretty good there. But me and Dennis went back. We weren't finding much, so I went by the road, and there's a stop sign there, and about 2 feet away from the stop sign where Kevin was hunting, about, I'd say 15 to 18 inches down, that Manticore got me a certified. It's been researched. It's going to be put in a magazine. They've already done the article the end of February. It was a rosette that came off of General Sherman's horse. And with the design, the amount of stars, the amount, the way the chicken head eagle had faced everything, they were told that the only person ever to have that was General Sherman himself. And why it was in Illinois, I have no clue.
I think half our people in the chat just had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Now, since that news has gotten out, I hear you've had some incredible offers on that.
I've had a couple offers on it. Ain't going nowhere.
Well, I didn't figure.
I got it sitting in a plastic fines box in my I have a room. I have a 5-bedroom house, and I have a room just dedicated straight to metal detecting, and it's just sitting in a plastic box. So they're going to come down. They're coming from, I believe, West Virginia, I believe. They're going to come over. They want to get a picture of where it was found.
Is this North-South Traders coming down?
North. I hope I'm saying this right. Forgive me if I don't want to give false information out. North, South, Civil War, something. I forget.
Is Steve himself coming?
Who?
Steve.
I've been talking to a lady.
Okay.
Okay. I hope her name's not Steve.
That's all right.
I hope.
When you make something into that periodical,
yeah,
every other month,
yeah.
When you make something into there, you've taken a step above.
You've really done well for yourself.
Done well.
So they're doing more research on it to find out why it was in Illinois.
I'd take a copy of that article with that piece and put that into a nice wooden case.
Yeah. I'll get it. I mentioned Dennis's name in it because I was with him. I mentioned my metal detecting club that I'm a part of here. The town of where I found it, and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting once it gets published. They don't know when it's going to be published. They've already done the article. They've already talked, and they want to get some pictures. Me standing where I found it, holding the piece. So,
which I'm sure it'll be pretty easy to remember where you found it.
I can take you.
Even I can remember that.
I can probably.
Right. The gentleman that owns that magazine, he also owns a place in Orange, Virginia called Mosby's. And it's right downtown. And I've traded with him. And I actually have, he puts out a definitive book on values of things like you have. And the North-South Trader. And this is the guy that Antique Roadshow goes to quite often, and he's been on there off and on doing Civil War appraisals. And if anybody's going to know definitively what you've got, is that man there.
Yeah.
So
I'm letting them do their thing. Do their research, like I said, I don't know the name. I'm drawing a blank of the lady I've been talking with, the emails and the phone calls. I can't remember.
Yeah.
The interview and stuff like that. I'm just waiting for it to be out and published. I just don't want to say who it was from. Because I can't remember right offhand. I have to see it.
Right.
That like I said, that.
And the funny part is, I have the permission directly across the street from it. And what was it, like the week before that we went and hit that yard?
It was the day before. I got a 2 cent.
He got a really nice 2 cent out of the yard 5 minutes into hunting.
I'm going to guess that was with the Manticore too.
Yeah. One of the very first weeks I had it, I think. Yeah.
Man.
Congratulations. That's something that would be hard to duplicate unless you got one from Robert E. Lee's bridle.
Yeah. That'd be, that's all interesting, but I'll be honest with you, Chuck, Josh, and everybody else. This was more exciting to me, honestly. It really was. I don't know why.
He was shaking. He was shaking when after the
I don't know. It could,
I noticed the hands started doing this.
Yeah. It could kind of be one of those things like with the rosette. I mean, yeah, sure, you might have recognized it as a rosette. You might have had a guess that it might date to a certain era. But at that point, you really wouldn't have had you wouldn't have known the actual significance of it until, months down the road or whatever. It's kind of like double treasure.
Yeah.
Well, one thing people have to realize, Billy Sherman, after the war or toward the end of the war, made trips back and forth through Illinois. Why? Who lived in the northwest corner of Illinois?
Grant.
You got it.
Yeah.
There were 9 Civil War generals out of that town, out of Galena, Illinois. So there were a lot of them moved through here. The aide-de-camp of Robert E. Lee was from Keokuk, Iowa. In the Keokuk Library a few years back, they were showing us things, and she got a shoebox down and handed us a piece of cardboard full of buttons and a letter and the family and the name and the whole thing of provenance that the aide-de-camp that traveled the entire Civil War with Robert E. Lee was from Keokuk, Iowa. There was a card of buttons. There were cuff buttons, coat buttons, everything you imagine, all the same design. I'd never seen it. And then I read the letter. There's only one other set of these buttons known, and they are on Robert E. Lee's uniform that hangs in the Smithsonian.
Wow.
And we told her, she said, this library's so broke. I said, you put them out for sale. You ain't going to be broke because that's only one other set. That's the replacements. He did the sword, traveled with him. He took care of him. He took care of horses, the whole deal. And you come across this stuff, and I just looked at her as a man. She said, they're just buttons. No. No. That if they belonged, as you say, and this letter says, and just like your rosette from Uncle Billy's horse, there's not another set. There's not another one.
Right.
Might have been a spare around somewhere, but.
Sure. I'm sure he had more than one. The back is still intact. It's there. One side's broken off, but it's still there.
How did you get to find out about this? In other words, you got this rosette. what tripped it? What?
So what started it all was I put it on a Facebook thing. It's called ID Me.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, I had a message. And next thing you know, I had offers. And it's like, all right, well, the offers, I'm sorry, it's not for sale. I just want information about it.
And if it's coming that fast, you know you've got something.
Yep.
Right.
I've experienced that. That's, yeah.
And so one thing led to another. So I did a little research, and then somebody got a hold of me and said, send me detailed pictures, put it on a scale, let me see what it weighs, show me front, back, do everything that you possibly can, video, pictures, everything else. And I did. And this is where we're at. So, yeah, like you said, somebody said in there, show it. I forgot it. I was gonna bring it, and I forgot it because I'm so excited about this. I don't know.
Well, you know, it could be for the best though, because before the show, he's showing these V-nickels off, Chuck, and next thing you know, one of them hits the floor.
Yeah.
So maybe it's for the best that he didn't bring it because
his hands on it.
There you go.
Yeah, don't want to lose track of it.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's all we can keep doing. All of us get out. I just met with the owner of some farms today. Yesterday in the afternoon, and I'm going out to those because they had some of the earliest homesteads in our area on them, and his entire family owns it. They're Century Farms and all this, and he's giving me carte blanche on it, so I'm going to start hitting that as long as I don't get another 2 inches of rain, because he's got some lowland in there that where one house sat, and it's nothing but muck.
Yeah, those Century Farm signs that you see at some of the farms, I'm like a moth to a light when I see those things. I'll be at the door banging that right away. Yep. I see one I've never seen before, but yeah, we're getting to a point where we got to start scrounging up some new spots, because we've been going back to the same ones quite a bit, and we know there's some good ones out there. But it's just a matter of getting in touch with the right farmers and stuff. And I got a couple of them that I need to sit down when they're available and look at some maps, because I know they got other properties.
He says I got about 2 weeks, if that. He's going to start getting her in the ground here shortly. So
yeah, I think they're going to get in a little early this year, but I don't foresee it being too early.
No, but we're finally getting some rains we need and they need, so that's a good thing. But congrats on both of those finds, Emery. That's cool. And Clay, all the stuff you've been finding, your dad may catch up someday.
That's why we went to another spot the other day on that video. I had to get 1 coin for the day at least.
There you go.
Yeah, something other than shotgun shells.
Yeah.
There you go. But the Civil War stuff through Illinois,
yeah, it's there to be had.
It's there to be had. It's just not congregated quite as thick unless you get around places near. There was a couple Union camps, and there's some in southeast Iowa, and of course there's the Arsenal. Of course, we can't hunt the Arsenal, but the Quad City area, I've seen a lot of breastplates, Union. U.S. buckles come up, buttons. I found buttons in different places. It was here, and they travel a lot in that type, so it doesn't surprise me to see a Billy Sherman piece come up in Illinois, probably headed for Galena or coming from Galena.
We had one spot that we did. Clay and I tripped over by accident. It was way out in the middle of the field, and just our research, we found a house on the corner, and we talked to the farmer, and he said sure. He says they used to have marble tournaments here, so if you find any marbles, my wife would like to have them. Okay, that's fine, but we kind of noticed something when we were there hitting it, that there was a couple chunks of rock and stuff way out on this high point, and it's half a mile walk out into the middle of this field. And next thing you know, we're getting, how many Civil War buttons did we get? 3 or 4, and then, you know, each time we were finding a bunch of Civil War. We found a mini ball out there too, or somebody did. You might not have been.
I don't know if this will work.
I don't think it doesn't look like it.
It's awful white there, Emery.
Hold it back some.
I don't know.
Angle it. You had it.
Or he may have to shield it a little bit from Clay's light.
Yeah, right. I don't know what I can do here.
Oh, we just there, right there.
There you go, right there.
Cool.
Right
You're
there.
gonna have to come back on though after they come in and talk to you about it and give us all the info.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
like I said,
we'll
if anybody
definitely
wants
do a show on
picture
that.
of it, if anybody wants a picture of it, just send me a message on Facebook or something. I'll gladly send you the pictures of the front and back. I'm glad to share it with anybody.
Maybe you should send a picture of that to Chuck, and he should post it on the Shooters and Prospectors page as a customer's find.
Sure.
Yeah, that and the nickels.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know that.
It was funny because yesterday, right after I did the video of him finding those nickels, I go, you watch and see. You're going to be a internet celebrity by tomorrow night when the show is on.
That's what I talking with Josh earlier. He said he's getting hits all the time on that. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
good.
Well, as soon as I found that all them V nickels, we got it all. We swung it over. Didn't find anything. So them guys were kind of doing the circle around it, you know, to see.
I would be too.
I'm over at the truck shaking so bad I had to stop and relax for a minute. They detected while I was at the truck getting a drink of water.
Yeah, I've seen Clay dig stuff up. Clay goes, I got this. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, we got a little later on in the day, and we were both swinging around up towards the road, and I just kind of look over my shoulder and I see something that doesn't quite register right. Here's this one back here. He's laying on his belly in the field, and he's up to his shoulder in a hole, and he's pulling stuff. He found another trash pit or outhouse pit, and he's out there digging away at it. And that's like the second one that we found out in this field. But it was, I says, you look at the gopher over here.
You get any bottles?
No, just a lot of broken glass and stuff is really all he got out of it. What else did you get?
I got a few pieces of pocket knife out of there, a few
Wow.
buttons, a pair of pliers.
But the last one that he dug out there, it was 3, 4, 5 feet deep and at least 6 feet wide. And he ended up pulling up a 3-point plow hitch out of this hole. And he's like, well, what are we going to do with this now? I says, well, it's not going to fit back.
Yeah. That's
So
when you're like, good luck fitting that in your pouch.
But I think that day that he did the big hole, we brought, geez, what was it? At least 3 5-gallon buckets full of nails and junk. Two 5-gallon buckets completely filled to the top of just nails and scrap and junk and everything else. But he tripped it with the AT Max, didn't you? Yeah.
Wow.
It was down there. We ended up actually going back there on a separate trip to take some big shovels and start digging the hole out.
I've been to DIV, and those boys that find those pits and
they're animals.
Oh man, if they think they're on it good, they're finding the right slabs of rock and they're getting down the fire pit. And where the encampment was. They'll go down. I've been there in a day and a half. They've opened up 12 feet by 6 feet wide. They're finding bottles. They're finding just all kinds of stuff, and 3-4 foot deep, and they just dig like crazy.
Well, this field that we've done all this in, it does not show up on my 1930s aerial site.
Yep.
But it does show up on the 1876 plat map. So it's kind of one of those, yeah, we definitely want to hit it, but no, we don't know exactly where everything is.
Well,
and
what we learned out at Mount Pillier, the nails and the iron scrap tells it all. And you can actually draw a building. And I did that kind of over here at one field we're working, because I was finding hand forged nails on this site, and I picked up some 3 hits and some 4 hits over here, and I'm going, this is early. Well, Frank went back to the 1870, not there. This all predated that, and then when I'm pulling up late 1830s and 40s silver, there was something there before they even had anything wrote down about it. And unfortunately, the bulldozer got to it, and they're building on it now. But we took a lot.
But this particular field, where the driveway was to the south of, I mean, if you were to pull straight in the driveway, if the driveway had still been there, and to the right,
right,
the farmer had always had this spot that it was always a really wet spot. There was a lot of marshes and stuff growing in it over the last several years, and he finally decided to go in there and just plow it all in and get rid of the wet spot.
Yeah.
So we went over and tried that a little bit, but it was really quiet over there. Emery got two Indians over there, but that was really the enjoyment of that part.
And I see Michael posted on here. Ain't nothing like pulling hundreds of pounds of iron out of a field. Mike, I don't mind it. I'll pull it out all day long because I want what's underneath that stuff. You got to pull that stuff out to find the good stuff. And I don't mind pulling it out. I really don't.
Oh, yeah. And neither does Mike. I mean, he'll
Sure.
drag that all home and recycle it.
I throw it in a dumpster, but I'll pull out all that big stuff because I can't tell you how many times that we've been out digging and you get a scratchy signal and you find the square nail, but then you find something good right underneath of it. You got to pull that trash, and don't be afraid to dig the trash. There's stuff in there. And just like that nickel hoard that I just found, it was a number I would normally not dig. It was a 23 on a Manicore. I would not have dug that. To me, that's Cam's law, that close to the ditch.
Yep. So they're talking in here about anything Lee related is a crazy find. In that same library in Keokuk, Iowa, they pulled down a tube and pulled out a sleeve and unrolled it for me, and it was the original plat map of Keokuk, Iowa.
Wow.
Vellum. It was on vellum. It was hand colored in, really drawn, the Indian territory up above, all this stuff going on. And I'm looking at it. She says, you need to read the lower corner. Robert E. Lee.
Wow.
In Keokuk, Iowa.
Yeah. That library wouldn't be broke for many, many, many generations.
I was there with a film crew, and we shot a show called Detecting History. And we had permission on the original home sites of Orion Clemens, his mother's house across the street, and Sam Clemens' home, who later became Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
They had one of the first printing presses in southeast Iowa, that area, and they were doing a city directory. And they have the first city directory printed by those two, with handwritten change notes to each other inside this book. And they just kept pulling stuff out. And Scott and I, and my brother-in-law, we were just like, and you're telling us you're broke. You got stuff in here people should be seeing. That's museum quality. I said, your city plat ought to be put in the right thing and put out there, as by Robert E. Lee. And it was amazing to handle all this stuff in one sitting. She just kept bringing it out. There was a letter in a box with coins, a watch, and several other items. And the letter was put away correctly. It was in a sleeve. And I'm reading this letter and I'm looking at this stuff, and it was the personal effects of a young man that took off with the Lewis and Clark expedition and was killed in Sioux Falls. They sent his stuff back to the family in Keokuk, and the letter is signed by Meriwether Lewis.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And they just kept, I'm like, I told her, I said, you got to they had old Scotch tape holding the coins on a sheet of heavy paper. I said, you need to get that off of there. Get some coin holders. We ain't got the money to buy the coin holders. I said, I'll go get them for you right now. You need
right
stuff. I said, it's crazy. Nah, she said, don't worry about it. And it's just like my jaw hit the table. But how many libraries got little things like this tucked away all over the U.S.?
Right.
It's another treasure hunt you could go on, and they kept dragging stuff out for us because we were filming in there and we did all this stuff with them and talked with them and had a good time. But then I hunted up there. I did find one piece of printing press plate, but it was more modern. It was not from the plate from the press, from the Clemens press. And then they burnt those guys out because they were printing abolitionist stuff. Crew out of Missouri come and burnt the printing press shop down, but they threw the printing press, which has never been recovered, into the Mississippi River at Keokuk because of what they did. That's when Sam Clemens left and went west. And that's where the beginning of Mark Twain was California. So the history kind of rolls along with movement.
Sometimes it's hard to follow the history, but once you get on that track and you can follow it to a certain spot,
and that
history's hard to follow sometimes.
The area you guys are working a lot, there was a route that goes right through that area that comes over towards and splits, goes up towards Davenport and down to Keokuk, because those were major river crossings at the time.
Right.
They didn't have rail, they didn't have all that stuff. And then down to St. Joseph and on up the river to Dubuque and Prairie du Chien. And I followed a lot of that and hunted a lot of these spots, and it has paid off.
Yeah. We're getting to the point where we're finding where the old wagon trails were.
Yep.
And we're actually getting permissions on those. Now we haven't been to them yet, but it's going to be interesting once we get there.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, it's all overgrown. There's trees all around, but the wagon trail went right through it. I'm excited to get there and swing it.
I'll bet you all are. You guys are going to have a blast.
If you can hook up on any of the Oregon Trail, that's another one. And I've seen guys that have found spots along the Oregon Trail because we had a lot of military presence moving up and down that trail to protect people traveling. And
right.
Found encampments and oh man, it was fun to watch them. They were doing their legwork getting permission, because actually in a couple spots you could still see the road depression through. Never been plowed up or anything, and the road was there.
Right.
So they knew what they're doing. So if you can get into that kind of history and follow it, that's cool.
Right. All I know we got Swing in the Summer coming up. I know we got Chicago Dig Fest coming up.
Yep.
I've never been more excited in my life to go to these things. I've never been to something like this before. I want to go meet everybody. That's my main goal.
Oh, so Swing into Summer is going to be your first one.
That's going to be my first real.
Well, we'll have a good time, Emery. We'll guarantee you that much. I have a flyer coming out, and I've got a gentleman help me put that together with everything on it and all that stuff. You'll see it posted in the clubs and that type of thing. The gentleman happens to be Ringy himself. He's good at this stuff because he throws them together for a lot of them. So he's putting that together. We'll have all that stuff on there. But we've got quite the crew coming, and we have representatives from MindLab, Garrett, Deus, Natka. And there's some surprises coming from Natka, so you want to hang out and see that.
Well, I'm new to this stuff. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure Clay's probably getting tired of me asking.
Well, you will be in the right spot because there will be people there that can answer your questions.
Right.
Got it. And there'll be gold panning. I don't know if Tim has talked with Alan yet, but there might be one of those ID me's. I can't promise that. I hope it is. And we can get that done, and John and Alan can run it, and they know what they're doing with it. So that would be and Naka wants them to spread to different events. So if we can pull it off and help them, we'll do it.
Good.
And anybody can put a team together and enter.
I'm looking forward to all this stuff. It's fun. I'm bringing my camper to both of the events. Stop by my spot.
We're hoping we have 3 sites together at Swing into Summer.
How fun is that going to be?
Frank doesn't live far away, but he's going to bring his out and join us too. So we get.
if you like Busch Light, come visit my trailer.
There you go. You're gonna try to get.
And we have the designated driver to come back from the meet and greet.
Clay, you know, just tell him to shut up and drive. Whatever, but. Are you guys going to try and get the main campground, which is the south side?
Whatever we can get 3 together.
There's campgrounds. There's Fisherman Corners, and that's just above the Lock and Dam where the camping is. And then there's another one down below, which is a pretty good sized campground.
Whatever's closest to the hunt site.
There you go. And we're talking all within a couple mile span.
Just remember, Clay, if you're the designated driver, you've got to stop and get gas at numerous gas stations on the way back to the campground.
Is it really for gas?
That too.
Well, see, in the next day, you guys will wonder, man, it didn't seem like the campground was that far, but why did it cost us $150 in fuel?
Well, you know, Bill Hayes made a comment here. Emery, at least it wasn't Bud Light.
You got me, bud.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm a Busch Light guy. I like my Busch Light.
There you go.
They sponsor my Go Cardinals.
Well, there you go.
There you go. There you go. That's good. Well, congrats on that. That's a nice little dig. I mean, that was a surprise for you.
Yeah.
And the other one is a
stellar surprise.
Yeah. And keep working on that. And we'll follow it close, and we'll see how you come out on that. We'll have you up here. Kevin keeps telling me to drive down and go out in the fields with you.
Please do.
You guys keep showing off finds like that. He'll be there before you know it.
There you go. I'll want
it. We had Frank and Darwin with us 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, and Darwin won the day. He got a nice little
military
infantry cuff button it was on the surface. He saw it before he swung over it.
Good.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
And then Emery, he thought he had his first Morgan.
Yeah.
And he sends me a text message. I'm around the other side of the building where we're at, and all as I see on the text is Morgan. I'm like, got the camera ready. Okay, yeah, I'm on my way. I took off and went over there, and he's cleaning off, and like, that doesn't look like Morgan to me. It was looked more like Mercury to me, but it's a big thing. It ended up being a money clip with a giant oversized 16D Merc on the face.
Oh, now that's cool.
I
mean,
I was standing right next to Frankie.
Silver?
What's that?
Is your money clip silver plated or silver?
I don't know. Since I found out it wasn't a Morgan, I haven't even looked at it since.
We don't think it's silver. I mean, it might be silver plated because it was kind of corroded a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Cool.
Well, still, I mean, cool.
It was a fun find. It was a fun find. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll bet it definitely got the blood flowing at first.
It did. For me, especially me being new. Yeah, but no, I'm still Morgan free, so I don't have one of those. But my
It'll happen.
This year is a try. I want to try.
Morgans show up in the oddest places.
Yes, they do.
Clay's got the oddest Morgan in probably anyone's collection. It's just a mangled up ball of silver, and you can see just a little bit of the stars and the E pluribus unum on it. You can just tell it's got some Morgan details on it, but it is either the plow has been very mean to it, or somebody else was really mean to this thing. It's ugly.
I think the house burnt down, and it was in the house and melted with the house.
Melted with the house burn. Maybe.
Could have been in the front door, under the threshold of the front door, because I've heard a lot.
Oh yeah.
My only Morgan that I have came from one of those.
Yep.
It was underneath the porch of the house that was getting torn down.
Well, and I'll tell you, I probably would have found the story difficult to believe if I hadn't seen the piece myself. But I ran into a guy that he actually dug an American Silver Eagle.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that somewhere too.
I mean,
it happens. Anybody can drop anything. I mean, that's like, I've had places that have told me, well, you can try doing the yard, but you're not going to find anything.
Yeah, you're not going to find anything.
And they're like, my family going back as many years as I can remember was real careful with their money. And I walk up the sidewalk and boom, boom, boom. There's 3 silvers right there. What do you think of that?
Yep. Everybody always thinks, well, we didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody
loses something.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
at some point.
Congrats, man. That's a nice afternoon. That's cool stuff. You guys are gonna have to, Clay and Emery, you're gonna have to let Kevin find something someday.
We can't.
He's busy running with the camera.
He's got the
You know,
camera.
he's got the camera, Clay. Yeah, Emery.
We got to have it on video, or else nobody will believe it. So that's his job. We gotta step up our game and find it.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. So,
Well, we all have our
once in a while.
we all have our cross to bear.
That's right.
oh yeah, we do.
That's right. I'm just glad I was with these guys. I'm glad I was with Dennis. These guys are my great friends, and I'm glad to be able to detect with them, and it makes it that much more enjoyable.
It does. It always
does. It's always more fun with friends, and
And
I
we
think-
wouldn't even have met Emery, if Chuck hadn't sold him a detector.
Yep.
That was
Oh,
over
yeah?
at I&I events that I just kind of overheard. Where do you live? Cedar Point? Now, what?
Right. Yeah. Hold the phone. Who do we have? Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Well, and I think 5 Mile Relic Hunter may have been the one that put it in the chat earlier. He put it in there as teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep.
And
Said, I
that's
see that post. Good job.
that's definitely the case in point with you three, it seems like.
Right.
Right.
We all have our spot. We all know you always want to learn something new every day. And even when you think you know everything, you're going to learn something
Right.
new. But these guys have taught me so much, and Dennis too. I don't want to leave Dennis out of this. He's taught me a lot on my machine and
Right.
pointers and everything else. And they teach me how to use a metal detector, and I get the permissions. It seems like, well, not all of them, some of them, but
It works well.
yeah, everybody knows their role, and we have fun doing what we do, and we find stuff.
Well, and I think it's conveyed very well in Kevin's videos too, that when you guys are all out there finding things, you're all genuinely happy for each other for making those finds.
Like down east just posted, he scored a 2-cent piece the other day. That's cool.
Nice.
Barb's change hunting, got a wheat interchange. I mean, keep your eyes open. Stuff comes your way.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
there.
we-
It's there.
We
Keep your
take it
eyes
where
open.
we can get it.
I'm going to be happy if I can knock one off my bucket list this year, and that big bucket lister is a 1/2 cent. Either a 1/2 cent or I don't care what kind of gold coin. I need a gold coin. I mean, I've got the elusive 20-cent piece. That's the hardest one.
That's a tough one.
I've got a 20-cent piece. I got a Trime. I got 3-cent nickel. I do not have a 1/2 cent.
Yeah.
I have Canadian
And-
1/2 cents. I have British 1/2 cents. I don't have U.S. and I found British 1/2 cents here, but I can't find U.S. a 1/2 cent. You'd have to come up and bite me in the backside.
And
Oh,
you
it's
probably
really
don't
weird
want him
is-
to tell you how many gold coins he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That has been no problem.
I detected
Yeah, he's-
30 years before I got my first seeded quarter. Long before that, I had my first seeded half. I had my first seeded dime, but the quarter just eluded me. And then
Quarters are they're thin in comparison to dimes.
Yeah.
Seated wise, I don't know why, but I found them.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of times when you do go out detecting, usually when you see that people are finding silver, a lot of times more often than not, what are they finding? Dimes. Why? Because the quarters, the halves, the dollars, they were easier to spot, or somebody's already come along and found them. They were easier to find. The dime is a smaller target.
They came out of the pocket easier.
Yeah. If
Your
you
out.
lost a silver dollar, you heard that thing hit the ground.
Right.
and they were given in change more frequently would be the dimes also. Dimes, nickels,
True.
pennies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like our schoolyards that we hit all the time. That we have some that are really good, that have been really good over the years. We have some that have just been really bad, and I mean, people can judge it the way they want, but the old schools and stuff, when they started the hot lunch programs in the 40s and 50s. Those are the places you really want to go if you're chasing after silver. Granted, it's going to be probably Mercs and Rosies, but
you'll find silver.
Silver.
Yeah, I mean, silver's silver. At 33, 34 plus an ounce, I'll take it any way I can get it. I don't care if it's a dime, an earring, a pendant.
Right.
A friend of mine bought a 705 from me, Xterra. his first year, he had an in with the phone company and got a map of where every outdoor phone was at, and he'd go to every place there had been a phone booth. And if it sat on the corners, you wouldn't believe the nickels and dimes, the silver dimes, occasionally in a quarter. You never found anything bigger than a quarter. But
right.
Dimes around those things, silver ones. He got Roosevelts and Mercs you wouldn't believe, because some of them, the map even said when the phone booth was put in there. He killed it up in Northeast Iowa, going to all the little towns where there were outside phone booths.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it.
Take on it, folks, and you can still dig around and find where those phone booth maps were.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to think outside of the box, so to speak.
He did. David did, and he scored a lot, a lot of silver.
We got a drive-in theater by us that's still active.
Yeah.
And I got permission to go to it quite a few years back, at least 10 years ago. And the guy would not let me inside the perimeter of the drive-in. He says, you can go all around it. I don't want you inside because I don't want you digging up any wires. He was a little cautious of it because the speakers do still work at this place even to this day.
Oh, wow.
But I went behind the big screen, and this is on the back side, outside the fence, and I think I pulled between 80 and 100 wheat pennies out of there.
Wow, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, throwing pennies at the screen or what they were doing, but it's not where the kids would normally be. They'd be inside right up in front of the screen because a lot of the drive-ins had playgrounds up in the front.
You think so, yeah. So you think outside the box, and sometimes you win.
Yeah. Well, it turned out that the outer part of this drive-in theater at one time was a go-kart track. And we found a probably 10 by 10 area that we pulled a bunch of clad halves. I think one of them was a semi, so like a 40%er, but we pulled up a bunch of clad halves in this one little area, and I think that was where the ticket booth was. Fairgrounds would be the same way.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying something about like you got to think outside of the box. That's why I always start on the edge of a field. When you get to a field, you always go over at home or the orchard or wherever that is. Well, I hit the edge of the field.
So, well, fellas, thank you. Good stories from you guys. That's what we like to hear. Keep doing it, Clay. Keep them in line for me and get out and find something.
And he definitely likes to see those customers being successful in the field. So make sure to send him those photos so he can post them up.
I will. I'll get him to Chuck this week.
That would be good. I'll get it up there. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And I appreciate all my subscribers out there. I'm slowly creeping my way up.
Exactly. So if you're not already subscribed to Barks Detecting
I'm looking
Pets,
forward to the summer. We got a lot of stuff going on, and we got that swing in the summer, and we got Chicago Dig Fest up in Wisconsin in the fall, and we're going to Alaska, so we'll be busy. And I'll be at Detecting the Heartland if any of you are going to that, and it'll be a good summer.
There you go.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
definitely.
I can't wait to meet everybody. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of our friends of Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound can make it up to this hunt. And it'll be fun, and I hope the Bills get over there. And Barb, she keeps saying she's trying, but I don't know if she's going to be able to make that. But there's a lot of others. Come on up. We'd love to have you. There's campground. If you got a camper, pull her up, and it is a nice place. You're on the Mississippi River, and you'll meet a lot of good folks there, too.
Yep,
and it is an old site.
And if you've never done an event before, Swing Into Summer is a great one to do. You're not going to find a friendlier group of people.
Nope, we have a good time. That's what we want you to have. Come have a good time with us. Yep.
Well, it seems like the three of them are already having a good time.
Yep. Yep.
We try. We try to get our itinerary in line before the weekend even hits.
There you go.
It was kind of like yesterday was kind of we just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Clay,
Yeah, but
fields we hadn't been back to in a while, and I says, okay, well, let's do it then. We got nothing else to do.
quick turnaround on the edit and upload, though.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks.
Yeah, that segment of the V Nichols, that was like 7 or so minutes long, and I was like, yeah, I got to get this up today.
Right. Yeah. So for anyone that's not already a subscriber to the channel, you may want to go over and subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Yep.
Check out the last video, the most recent upload that was uploaded yesterday. The link is the first link in the description is the direct link to that video. And go over and leave a comment, hit the likes button, all of that happy jazz for them.
And to everybody out there listening, if you got something that you found and you want to bring it on and show it to us, this is what we like. And,
right.
Bring it on. Talk about it. Talk about your finds, your friends, and what you're doing. This is the fun of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're using anything other than MindLab, call me. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Josh, thanks, fellas. Appreciate you coming on. That's a good night. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Chuck.
Yeah, boys.
Well, what do you do? What do you do? But definitely, guys, thanks for dropping by, and continued success out there in the field and with the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having us on, and it was a great show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a blast. It's good to catch up with the three of you again, and who knows, maybe when the article's published about the Rosette, we can get you all back on again.
Or maybe I'll find something finally.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's Kevin's turn.
That's right. Maybe I'll run the camera once.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, there's always that option. All right. Well, we thank you for taking the time to drop in with us, guys. I'm going to let you guys on out of here then, and have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So, obviously, Kevin and Clay Barkley, Emery Hetherington. Emery made that very surprising find, 19 V nickels, all dating from 1900 to 1911. And out of the 19, only 3 of them were 1911s. So, not bad. And apparently, offers have already been coming in on that find as well. Either way, can't beat it. Can't beat it. Fun with friends. How does it get much better? So, if you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like right here. Check out the link at the top of the description. Go over, check out the video for yourself where you can see this find of the V nickel cache, and throw them a like, leave them a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you feel like doing so. And obviously, you can keep track of us here by subscribing, hitting the notification bell, or following the podcast side through your favorite podcast distribution services. It's been a fun night. Until the next one, maybe it inspires you to get out there and find that just absolutely phenomenal find. And if you do, reach out to me. We want to showcase that one too. We'll catch you on the next one, folks. We're out of here. We sure are glad you found us here tonight. Thanks for dropping by and joining in. If you like metal detecting, treasure hunting, gold prospecting, or even entertaining discussion, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite podcast distribution services.